Said, by the power of Grayskull.
Hello, this is just a quick review for WWE 2K22. I did do another review not long ago, but I forgot to take the music off, so it banned me. I got my video took down, so I just made another quick one. If you've played the wrestling before, the 2K wrestling, you'll know most of like what I'm telling you, but for people who have never played, it's like basically they've changed the buttons again, and they've implemented like a combo system now. So you've got like combination punches which are linked to like moves at the end, which weren't in the game before. So I'll talk a bit about that like later on, but that's just the newest thing that's happening with the game. I've always liked playing the wrestling. I've always had them all through PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like everything. I've always played the wrestling games. And in my opinion, I think this is probably the best game they've brought out to date. I mean, I know 2K23 is in the mix at the moment, but so far, I think they've done a really good job of fleshing out the game, fleshing out the My Rise mode, which is what you were looking at there. Me custom created character, like story mode, so that's good. um, you've got all of the SmackDown, you've got some NXT people, you've got all the Raw people, and there's a few legends chucked in there as well. There's Big Boss Man, Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, there's Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, so I'm sure there's a couple more. There's like a Ric Flair, Ted DiBiase. So there's a few in there that Roddy Piper. There's a few in there that come with the game, because I'm all about the 80s wrestling. I love the 80s, so all of my roster is the 80s. I'll show you a bit in the video. But this is like My Rise, where you go and you talk to people. They give you different scenarios, different matches, different amount of upgrade points, and how many fans you'll get, maybe above 5% power submission offense. And you just go around changing locations. They've done away with the free mode where you could walk around backstage and go and talk to people. Now it's more like you just change locations, fast traveling places, and then you talk to whoever's in the room. You don't actually get a chance to walk around. This is the creation suite. A lot of the creation options are the same from all the different wrestling games. So people who have played the game before, you'll see a lot of things that you recognise from older games. But there is loads of new stuff as well. A lot of it's behind a paywall for the DLC stuff. They want you to pay extra money so you can, like get British Bulldog and stuff like that. But I haven't paid anything. This is just the base copy. I've never paid for any DLCs. And you can always just get British Bulldog or whoever you want from the community creations. You don't need to put any money in. Anyone that you want in your wrestling game, you can just create yourself, or if you're not very good at creating people, you can just look on the community and there's bound to be people there. Another good thing about the community is that they've involved custom portrait pictures. So when you're making the character, when you go to the character selection screen, you can actually have a real life photograph of somebody, the person that you're actually picking, instead of it just being like graphics like this. See how it's the real pictures of the real people instead of just the created characters. So it makes it more realistic, and makes it feel like you're getting more customization, because you can change the profile pictures of the people, so it's not just created wrestlers, which is nice because that's a new thing they've implemented. This is my universe, where I've just see In Your House, Royal Rumble, Saturday main event, and SummerSlam 88. I've just created a couple of shows, and all of my roster are 80s characters, like you can see. And another thing, do you see how there was on Texas, I think it was Mr. Perfect, or Owen Hart, sorry. On Owen Hart, there was like an exclamation mark over his picture. For some reason, I've got the profile picture in there, and it is applied to him, but for some reason, it's decided to change into an exclamation mark like that. So I had to go back in and just apply it again, and it seemed to fix the problem. But the game is very glitchy. You're allowed to download 100 people off the community, like 100 slots, so you can download 100 community creations in theory. But I downloaded, I think it was about 60, 80 wrestlers, and about 35 or 36 from the 90s. Like The Rock when he had his hair, and The Big Show, and Edge and Christian, Chris Benoit, stuff like that. I had like a whole like universe set up with them as well. But the game was really glitchy. It became unbearable. Like I couldn't. Even now, I've got so many characters and created stuff on my game. I can't even create my own character from scratch because I'll get halfway through the process and it just crashes the game. Sometimes it'll even do a hard crash, like a forced stop, where it goes blue and then the 100% bar comes up and it says, there was an error, and you get like a PlayStation message. Or it'll just keep loading forever. It'll never actually stop loading. So it's very glitchy. That's one thing I don't like about the game. It's probably the only thing I don't like about it. Is that, well, maybe there could be more legends on there. But it's like, it's really glitchy. On certain things that happen, like sometimes your connections don't happen, like you're trying to do a clothesline and you'll just clothesline mid-air, and that extra second that you use up because you've missed the move, that gives your opponent a chance to grab you, which wouldn't have happened if you connected with the clothesline, that kind of thing. So if it didn't have those little mishaps, it would literally be perfect. But there's still like loads about it that I do actually love. The pros outweigh the cons in my opinion. But if they could just fix the whole like crashing, where it's just basic, because I looked on YouTube how to rectify it, and the guy on YouTube said you basically just got too many created things on your game. If you delete off a couple of characters, then that should rectify it. And I deleted off all the 90s Raw and SmackDown people, and it had sorted my game out tremendously. Also, if you go into the deletion tool in the options and you click on things in there, you get rid of all your little, like anything that comes with a superstar. So say you download like Demolition and Axe and Smash. Well, when you download the characters, you're also downloading anything that's stuck on them, like the face paint will all be in your images. So even though you've downloaded, say you delete Axe and Smash off your game, you don't want to play with them anymore, and you delete them off, you'll still have the face paint and everything that came with them in your memory still. So even though you think, oh, I've deleted loads of characters off, you still might have to go through your deletion like tool and delete off all the images that you're not using. It does tell you whether it's being used or not, so that's helpful, so you won't delete anything that you're still using by accident. It is a painstaking process because it takes a long time for it to go through the list, so it'll take you a while, but again, that'll free up loads of memory and you might get your game running a bit more smoother then. So that's really the only problem I had with it. It was just getting annoying. Like I would get so far into the process of creating somebody, and it would, you would end up just freezing. The game like freezes, but it's still spinning in the bottom corner as if it's loading. But you could go out and come back 45 minutes later and it'll still be spinning and loading. So you sort of know how long it takes to load, and if it passes that time, then you know it's crashed and you can just turn it off and load it back up again. But when I first bought this game, I literally spent about a week just in the options before I even played any matches, and then I'd done the showcase mode first, which is good. I wish it was somebody like Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior again, or just like somebody who's a bit of like a legend. That would have been a better showcase in my opinion. But Rey Mysterio's not bad, and he's his showcase is quite good. You get to do his very first match up until like these later matches. There's like a bonus match at the end. So you just do that. But again, you unlock about 6 or 7 different versions of Rey Mysterio, and there's nothing much different from them. Maybe the odd signature or the odd special move changes over the years, but apart from that, and like his outfits, but you can just create your own outfits on the community, or you can edit your own. You can edit any superstar's attire anyway, so I think it's a waste putting in 6 or 7 different types of the same superstar when you could just have one and have loads different attires and just say like attire 2010, attire 2015, and you don't need to have them all as separate characters, because then it takes up spaces that could be used for different wrestlers altogether. But that's just me nitpicking with the game. I really did enjoy it. It's class, and I love playing. The gameplay is really good. It flips and flops all the time. 1 minute you're winning, next minute you're losing, next minute you're winning, next minute you're losing. So it keeps it interesting. You can play the gameplay and never really gets boring. Especially when you're creating your own people and you create your own universe with all the custom characters, and you can just really make the game your own. And that's what I love about it. So if you haven't played it before, I would definitely get it. Definitely take time, but make sure you've got hours and hours to play on the game, because if you want it customized, then that's the way it's going to be. But yeah, that's it. So go out and get it. See you later.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.